the first weekend of December to the processing plant in Charlotte, North Carolina for Operation Christmas Child. And it's an opportunity I've been hearing about for years in this church, but just this year kind of made the decision to go, and God worked that out in a great way for me to be able to, getting me off of work on a day that I'm usually working and letting my husband be off. And even though he ended up with an ear infection and not feeling great, he took care of the kids. And so I just wanted to share with you a little bit about that because, like I said, I've been hearing about it for a long time, and we've supported it with giving shoeboxes, but just actually going is such a different experience and lets you see how big that operation is and how much goes into it and the impact that that has on people all around the world. So I wrote just kind of a cheat sheet because I could tell you a lot about it. Of some things that either God taught me new or reminded me of that I needed to know right now in life. So as I said, it was the first weekend of December. We left on a really foggy, rainy morning. Miss Donna and David Leonard, let me back up. Donna Leonard, Levi Leonard, and Joe Stewart and I were the four that went down. And David and Donna have generously let us take their van the last several years, I think, to go down there. They had had tire problems the week before and twice had a tire patched, and the people assured them that it was fine, there was nothing wrong with the tire, it was going to be good. Well, we got east of Knoxville on I-40, and the tire blew, and guess which one blew? The one that was fixed twice. So Donna wasn't very happy about that, and I've had tires go in rural Park County, but it's different on the side of an interstate when people are traveling 70 plus miles an hour by you. It was 3-something in the afternoon, and Donna, well, we thought with 3 grown adults and Levi, we could figure out how to change the tire, get the spare on. Well, the spare had been up under the van for so long it wouldn't come down, and we didn't have the tools to cut it or anything like that. So Donna called her insurance. They were sending someone. Their estimated time of arrival was 40-some minutes away at the point in which a highway response unit, Tennessee Highway Response Unit, pulled up behind us. I don't think Indiana does this on their interstates, but I think it's a great idea because these people just travel along the highway all day long and they help people. And he was very apologetic that he had taken an extra 15 or 20 minutes because he had to go clean up an accident and come back. But was able to change the tire, get the spare on, aired it up first, and was able to tell us where the next exit where that we'd most likely be able to find a tire store to get a new one was. Also just happened to be a Christian who saw Joe's hat that said Operation Christmas Child on it and was just like, oh, that's a great ministry. I love that. I want to go on a distribution trip and hand out those boxes someday. So we were able to share that we were going there. And I think it was an encouragement to him as well, and just a blessing to be able to meet him in that. And what I thought about later was, had we waited on the insurance people to arrive, they would have helped us change the tire, but we wouldn't have made it to the tire store before it closed. And we still had a couple hours on that trip, plus all the way back to Indiana on Sunday to make, and from Hendersonville, North Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina, and back on Saturday. And the spare wouldn't have been great for all that. So God works things out. And I think Rich said a few weeks ago when he was up here talking about his Ecuador trip, things get in the way sometimes, and they are deterrents for us. In our humanness, we kind of think, oh, well, maybe I'm not going to go now, because his was a passport situation. Not that we were going to stop our trip because of a tire, but I think sometimes we think God is in control, and so everything is going to be like smooth, and it's not. And we learn a lot of lessons through those rough times. So just a reminder to me of how God provides for us in ways that we don't expect and maybe didn't want, but he's still in control and has everything in his hands. So also, the part of this that I could talk about for a really long time is the actual Operation Christmas Child. If you go to one of these processing plants, and I hear that Charlotte, where we are, is bigger, or where we were, than the Boone, North Carolina one. I don't know how it compares to like Atlanta and some of those others, but very big operation. And I think Donna said there were 600 spots for the daily volunteers to come in at any given time. And there's different shifts of people that come in throughout the day from 9 a.m. I think till 9 or 10 p.m. They shoot for processing 100,000 boxes every day in that Charlotte plant for millions that are going to go out to people all over the world. And most of you who are here know about Operation Christmas Child, but for a few of you maybe visiting, Operation Christmas Child is just taking a shoebox and filling it with things from school supplies to toiletries to toys to anything you want to put in the box, pretty much, and sending it through this Samaritan's Purse organization to an individual child somewhere in the world. What I didn't know till I went is one child can only get a single box in their lifetime. They're never going to get another one. So it may be their only Christmas gift they ever have in their whole life. And you often hear stories of the kids that the stuff in the box is great, but it's the letter or the photograph that someone took the time to put in there that means even more. So I don't know, maybe you all knew that, but about only getting it once. But the reason I back up and say to all of you who I know already know about Operation Christmas Child is I came back and some of my coworkers had never heard of it. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I thought it was everywhere. So anyway, crazy big operation, hundreds, thousands of volunteers just come to these processing plants during this season, but there are year-round volunteers. There are people who work full-time with Samaritan's Purse, and as you know, these aren't going to be like FedEx to people. It's like sometimes on donkeys and camels and llamas and things that are getting taken to individuals. And the great thing about these boxes is every time a box is given, someone is able to hear about the gospel of Christ. And so it's always there in front of them, and that is also something that they have the opportunity to then do a 12-week study with someone who has been trained to lead them through. So they're making disciples, like what we're all about here. And so it's not just give them a gift and let it go. We're giving them the gospel of Christ and then trying to train them up in that. And so it's just really a great organization. And I have been guilty in the past of like, oh, I got to get these however many boxes done. And I go to the store and I'm like, okay, so I can put school supplies, I can put clothes, I can put this and this and this. And it's very like methodical. And I haven't always been like prayerfully, like what goes in this box? I'm going to pray for that child when I've got it all put together. But I think what I've learned is there were two stories that I heard while I was there. One was a boy that got an oven mitt in his box. And the people that gave him that thought that was kind of crazy. Like, why would someone pack a box for a boy and put an oven mitt in it? And what they came to find was that was his most treasured thing in the box because he had to bake bread for his family. And his hands were always burned. And so God, in his wisdom, had someone put an oven mitt in a box for a boy across the world and never knew that that was going to be the case, you know. So I just was, I don't know, kind of dumbfounded sometimes. And I think we put God, it's funny to say this in the Operation Shoebox, but I put God in a box, and I think like, oh, this child's going to need this, and this one's going to need this, but we don't have any idea, you know. The other story, when we were doing the orientation where they show you a video of what you're going to be doing and whose job is what in this whole process in the processing plant, the man stopped and said, hey, I wanted to share this story with you. There was a village whose school was basically going to be stopped because they didn't have any school supplies. And every child in that village, in their shoeboxes that year, got school supplies. And so it not only reached those children, but the leaders of the village were coming to the missionaries and the people delivering the boxes saying, we really believe this God has, you know, something there. There's something there. There's substance because he's taking care of our kids and he's letting them learn things. So it's been impactful, not just for children, but for families, for villages, and that just keeps going on. And then finally, I kind of mentioned that my coworkers didn't even know about the shoeboxes. Just the fact that when we go on mission, I know many have said it, it's not, yes, we're going to make an impact on someone's life, but it makes an impact on our lives. And this gave me just a really easy, like, hey, I took last Friday off and this is what I did. And then I was able to say, we weren't just giving them stuff, we were giving them Jesus, you know? And so it led to gospel conversations at work that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So just an encouragement to keep in mind, whether it's Ecuador or an Operation Christmas Child or something that no one else in this church is doing, but you know is an opportunity to go share Christ or be a blessing to someone else. Just take those opportunities as you can, and don't let the stuff of life get in the way of us sharing Jesus with others. Thanks.